last week was eventful because the National Association of Black Journalists invited Trump to speak at their conference.
In Chicago, right?
Yeah, in Chicago. So, for those of you that are not familiar with the NABJ, they are a worldwide community of black journalists and media professionals. It was founded by 44 men and women on December 12th, 1975 in Washington, D.C. It is the largest organization for journalists of color in the nation. And they are more than 4,000 strong. They have journalists, professional journalists, student journalists, journalism educators, media professionals of all kinds, et cetera, et cetera. Have you guys heard of the NABJ before all this?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I listen.
Yep.
Bo Monty Jones, and he's a part of it, so I've heard him mention it. And
Mark
they
Lamont
used to
Hill,
do
wasn't he a
Sports
part of
Center.
it too?
Yeah,
I
Mark
thought,
Lamont
yeah,
Hill
yeah.
and Jamel Hill too. They used to do Sports Center. They bring it up a lot.
Okay. Well, anyway, Trump went up there and showed out. Now,
They invited Kamala too, for the record.
yeah.
And they've
Um,
been inviting him. He's just turned down the invitation every time,
who,
except
Trump?
for this. They've
They
invited
invite
him
every
both.
president
Oh,
to
okay.
speak.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that's what I've heard too. Yeah.
Yeah, Bush spoke there. Obama spoke there. It was somebody else I can't remember. So that's why he was invited to speak there. So yeah, and he decided to go because he's trying to get black voters, and now more importantly than ever with Kamala, who apparently, according to him, just turned black.
I didn't choose
He
black.
tried to go up there to steal some votes. So I'm sure you guys have seen some of the clips and stuff that went online. Do you guys feel like the backlash and criticisms are fair that they've
Of him
received?
or them.
The NABJ.
At first, I was just seeing it of him, and then I started seeing it of them. So that's the of them is what's new to me. I'm not up on like what everybody's saying about them. I just saw like the backlash from him, the things he was saying. But then later, I started hearing that people were mad at them. So what? Why are people mad at them exactly?
Platforming him
For having him on their
is
platform.
yeah, is what I'm seeing the most. They are saying that everyone knows what type of person he is. There is a history of him being aggressive towards black journalists in general as well. Why would they invite him to speak at this event, given his history with the media? So it's a lot of platforming.
I think it's an opportunity to expose him or to remind people that somehow forgot how he could be with black people in general, journalists or whatnot. So I thought it was an opportunity to expose him of that. Like I think the part that messed them up is that they weren't able to fact check or something like that, which
Yeah.
people criticizing like why would you bring them on and interview him if you're not able to really like dig into some of his lies and things like that. So I think that's a misstep for them. Um,
I think,
mhm.
right. I think what I kept hearing, at least that, because remember he was complaining about being half an hour late or being a half an hour overdue. They were saying that he was kind of fighting them from not doing the fact checking. I think that's why, based on him, that's why it started a half an hour late. Like, cause he kept mentioning, yeah, y'all got it a half an hour late. Y'all mics are crappy. Y'all equipment don't work and all that stuff. Like, so the I don't know how much truth it is, but they say he didn't want them to have a fact checker at this
He
event.
didn't. I don't think
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was part of the initial conversation. Go ahead, Spike.
it was part of the agreement that he couldn't be fact checked if he was going to do an appearance. So they
Yeah.
they, they
And see,
made sure
he made it
beforehand.
seem like they were just being late and they wasn't on time, and it was like, no, it was because he was bucking back on that for a half an hour.
That's the backlash that I've seen, is that they didn't call him out on it, which I don't understand either. I mean, I guess they just didn't want to be combative, because I mean they handled themselves pretty well in the face of him acting like an asshole. But the backlash I saw was they let him get up there, they let him lie, and no one checked him. Which I do get. Like, if you came on our platform and then you say we're late because of our equipment, but it's really because
Right.
you were backstage arguing, I think that someone should have been like, well, I mean, actually, no, I don't. No, I don't. Because what would that have really served? That wouldn't have served any purpose. Like, if they got were like, nah, he's lying, it was because he was back there arguing, that would have just sucked up more of their 35 minutes that they had. So they just let it go.
Exactly. So that's what I was gonna say. That's why the one chick in the blue, I forgot her name. I'm sorry.
Rachel Scott. Rachel Scott.
Yeah. She kept just trying to move on when she realized that he just wasn't gonna answer questions directly. She's like, okay, well, let's just move on, because it's like Trump is really good at that, diverting, like, not answering the question and just wasting time, really, just wasting time saying whatever he wants to say. So you don't want to get pulled into a back and forth. Well, no, it wasn't. Our stuff was fine. You just didn't want to blah, 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 blah. You don't want to get into that, and you just want to really get to your question, especially with a limited amount of time, because they clearly had a lot more questions to ask, and they just started running out of time.
Well, that's where I do slightly. I agree with you that it would just been a waste of time to go back and forth about why y'all were late.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that they should have drilled him harder on answer the question, because he was definitely stalling. He was trying to change the subject. He was trying to throw it back on them. And one of them did try. She was like,
yeah,
can you answer the question? Can you answer the question?
Yeah,
and
Rachel Scott.
Exactly.
I feel like that's why he was like, oh, y'all are rude and y'all are aggressive. Fuck that. Fine. If we're going to be rude and aggressive, I'm going to be rude and aggressive, and I'm going to get you to answer this fucking question.
Yeah.
Because he didn't answer shit. I watched it. They asked him multiple questions, and he would just bounce around like he always does. So I wish they were a tiny bit more petty and be like, okay, let the record show I asked him this and he didn't answer.
I like that, you know what I'm saying? Like that, that, but that's a more lawyer approach, right? Like, but like they're journalists, so it's like and I'm telling you, they clearly had a lot more questions to ask him, and like I think they just was trying to move on, and it wasn't just one person; it was like what, 3 people, one had questions or something like that. So yeah, man, it was. I could see his team just saying just bullshit, you know what I'm saying? So they can't even get to half of their questions. Like, I could see that being a device plan.
I can too, but that also makes me think about their preparation. You know how he is. So you know he's gonna get up there and do that. So you have to have a game plan prepared for when he does.
Right.
So I think if they had done that shit of like, okay, he's not answering the question, let's move on. Okay, we asked him this, he's not answering this either, let's move on. But let the record show that we've asked 2 questions and he didn't answer. I think he would have got so mad at that shit that he would have started to answer the question in a way that
right.
I think the last lady, I think her name was Harris too, or whatever. I feel like she was the most effective because I guess they have some sort of rapport.
Because she's on Fox News. She
worked with Fox News.
She was on Fox News, bro.
He loves Trump, so that's why she has such a good rapport with him. They could have fucking removed her ass. She was worthless.
She was worthless. Yeah.
Nah, she was, but she was the only one that he was like kind of willing to kind of answer her questions. But her questions, like, I don't know, from what I remember, just wasn't like the first 2 questions. Like, they were really trying to dig in or like get him to admit, like, you was wrong for this and you was wrong for that, or I don't know. I don't know why people are giving him such a hard time. Honestly, I mean, it's clearly you can see Trump is just really good at diverting, man. Now I understand trying to be prepared, but I don't know. Like I can see that being really tough.
I can too, and I'm with you. I don't think they should be attacked. I mean, the whole platforming thing, in my opinion only, that's kind of a stupid statement.
Yeah,
he's the fucking presidential.
Exactly.
You're not platforming him. I can see if he was some random little nobody ass Nazi and you're platforming him. He's Donald fucking Trump. Right. He has plenty of platforms. I think it was actually courageous to bring him on a black, I don't want to call it a network, but a black organization or whatever, and ask him black questions.
Yeah.
Then be able to say afterwards that all he did was get mad at us for asking the questions, say we were rude, say we were aggressive, and he didn't answer anything. I think that this was actually a good thing. Hopefully black people see this shit and be like, yeah, Amber Rose and all these other motherfucking coons are lying. This dude just ain't for black people.
I hate that it's flipping on them instead of him. Like when I saw that, I'm like, why? Like, why are we trying to flip this? Like, let's keep the focus on how he's fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, why are y'all trying to attack them and talk about and criticize them? We should be criticizing the things he was saying in that moment.
Right.
Like I said, I saw it at first. I saw people. He doubled down on the black jobs, Hispanic jobs, and all that kind of stuff he was saying. Like, and just how he was rude to just the woman in general. Like just saying, you know, calling her nasty and all that, man. Like I don't know, man. Like how they're trying to shift the focus to this association versus just keeping it on him. Mm-hmm. That's wild.
He just showed who he is.
Narrative. Who was changing that narrative?
I think it's just social. I think it's social media in general. People that really don't like him already are seeing it and saying, "Well, he should have never been there because you knew that he was going to do it this way." Like you don't get another version of him, even if he's in front of black people, white people, whatever it may be. And this is the thing that make the people that like him love him anyway. So they're looking at it like, oh, this just adds fuel to his fire. Like y'all knew that he would be able, like you said, Rod, he's so good that he was going to get up there and be able to do this. And they thought that they would be able to have another type of interview, and it didn't happen. So people are like, well, you should have. I don't agree with that, but I think that's the narrative that I've been hearing.
I don't think that's true either. I don't think it feeds his fire because they've been trying to soften him because he's trying to win over black people and moderates. This isn't going to help him. This is only going to hurt him because he came out like a fucking idiot. The other thing is, I don't necessarily think it's fair to blame the journalists for bringing him on there because, like I said, he already has a platform, and I don't think that those journalists thought they were going to get a different version of Trump. They may have thought that he may not be this aggressive and dismissive, but I don't think they thought he was really going to come up there and sit down and just happily answer questions. Like that's just not him. Right. I think it's a lot of networks too, to Rod's question, that are probably maybe a little bit jealous that they weren't the ones that were able to do it. I won't say names, but there's a certain somebody that's always got his nose up in shit that was going the fuck off about how they did this. And I'm like, man, bro, you're probably just mad because ain't nobody called you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And everybody, and like you're right, they're probably like, yeah, they should have did this and they should have did that. They should have did it this way. Like just like if given the same circumstances, your ass probably would have bombed too, like to a certain degree. It's like sports. Like when you judge sports and like think you could like, oh man, he should have dunked it like this, or he should have dribbled like who see you can out there and do that shit like somebody like that. Like, come on, man. He was being an asshole. Like purposely.
That's who he is, though.
Yeah, he can't hide it.
Yeah,
like he
tried to soften, like Mike said, but he can't hide being an asshole.
He came up there like, look, I am superior white man. Y'all can't do anything to me. It's how the air he had while he was on that stage.
Oh yeah,
especially being black women too. He was like,
definitely gave off. Y'all lucky to even be talking.
to me. Exactly. That's the air that it was. That's what I saw. Y'all lucky to even be talking to me right now.
They needed somebody just as nasty as him. I would have loved. I want to see him talk to a black person that's willing to get as nasty and as dirty as he is. They're trying to keep it professional, and I commend them for that. But I would love to see an interview with somebody who get down in the mud with him.
He would have left.
See how that goes.
He would have
really
left.
You think he'll just walk out?
He would have left or said they were rude as well. He would have just kept just talking about how rude you are, how nasty you are. That's all he would have did. That's all he would have did, Spike. Unfortunately,
I think this is better. Because they were so unbelievably professional.
Yes.
They were so unbelievably professional.
Right.
Yes. Someone that was being unbelievably disrespectful and dismissive. If it was because I saw some people being like, "Oh, they should have had a black man up there." Well, first of all, you're already feeding into, a misogynist narrative that Trump won't talk to a black man like that because he will.
Yeah, he absolutely will.
Because Trump knows that ain't nobody gonna do shit to him. But if a black man was up there or a black woman, Spike, and started yelling back, he would have just got up and left.
Yeah, or he would, like I said, he just was up there. He was trying to provoke, especially the lady in the blue. He was trying to provoke her.
Yeah.
He kept talking about it. He kept digging at her.
But
And
she stayed focused.
she stood down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Like I said, I was happy to see, that people were ragging on the things he was saying. But then when they started switching the narrative to the journalists, I'm like, oh Lord, here we go.
I'm okay with them having him on because they've always invited presidents to speak. It's up to them to come visit. So this is just business as usual for them.
Yeah.
And I think from there it's up to the people watching to decide and make a decision for themselves. And I saw commentary, people laughing, the reactions he was getting from the crowd, especially when he went to the whole question of Kamala's identity, when he basically was questioning her heritage. And he said, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black? It's kind of
the way he was saying black. The way he was saying black was
Black.
yeah.
He was clearly playing into the crowd. The more they reacted, whether it was a laugh at disbelief that this guy is crazy to be saying this, or whether it was laughing because they legit thought it was funny, the more he got a response, more he started to kind of play into it. What'd you get? Because this, I didn't. They're going nasty early. They are not waiting to attack Kamala. What do you guys think about this whole point of the conference?
Which point?
Just him attacking her heritage. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous, man. I couldn't believe my ears when I was hearing it. I'm like, he's really saying this stuff, like the way he's saying it, like that. That was really all, man. I was just like in disbelief, like that he was even saying.
Yeah, it's almost like, because he was like, yeah, have you saw a Fox News person kind of, they got caught up too because they were trying to follow along with the talking points of whether or not she's black or Indian or whatnot. She was like, yeah, because I know her dad's Jamaican, but it's like she kind of got lost in where she was going, or she realized that what she was saying was kind of stupid, and she just kind of went away from it. So yeah, it was interesting, and the thing about it is that they really wanted Trump and the whole party to stay away from this particular narrative, from these talking or attacking points against her, because their fear is that it'll just amplify and rile up another more voters. Like, it's unnecessary, that they really have an angle on policy and on her policy, but he this is who he is and he can't help himself. So yeah, I'm with you, Rod. I couldn't believe he was actually saying that. I think that was another freestyle moment by Trump where he just started talking. And because there's no way he could have known or been aware of the whole divisive conversations that are taking place online about, Indian and people of color and black and whatever this other thing is that they have, Foundation of Black Americans, or whatever this thing is. It's just like, it's almost like he was just trying to say, yeah, this person ain't really black, y'all. Y'all voted for Indian. Why are y'all even voting for this woman? Like, she's pandering to you guys by claiming to be black all of a sudden. It was crazy, bro, to see him even go there. But
that conversation's been started though. They started that real early about her being Indian versus black. I don't know if it was started by his administration or whatever, but I did see that floating around social. So I think he's just attaching it. Yeah. I think he's just attaching himself to it since he sees that.
So you're saying he was aware? So you're saying he was aware of it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think he was. I couldn't believe he was saying it though. That's all. I'm sure it was probably in his notes. They probably told him to touch on it, but yeah, it was just still crazy to hear him actually say it the way he was saying it.
I think it's interesting, like Mike said earlier, that they've been trying to soften him and trying to make him more appealing to people, but he's continuously just hitting the notes to people who already support him. Like they're the only people that would be cool with what he's saying. If he's trying to gain more people, it's like you said, Kenny, he would probably stay away from this. But it seems like he can't help himself in trying to rile up the people that do like him and repeat points out there about this. Just like why does he care? If you, like you said, Ken, if he has the policy ups on her as far as what she believes in and her not being this or that and what they think as far as policy, why do you care if she's black or not? Like, he ain't got nothing to do with anything in your campaign. It's just surprising that he can't stay away from it.
I care. He cares because.
Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I was just saying he cares because that's a good thing for her to be attached to, the whole black community. I mean, just like, oh yeah, first black president and all those things. It sounds better than first black Indian president.
I'm glad I let you go first. I'm trying to remember what the hell Spike said, because that shit was wild.
I said, why do he care? Why he can't avoid not being divisive. Like, he just can't avoid it. It's like it fuels him.
In my opinion, I don't think that this was a bad tactic. I think that it was bad execution. I disagree with y'all that he went up there and just kind of just said it and didn't plan to say that. I guarantee he walked in the room and part of his plan was to outline that she's not black. What would like if you give this to someone that's even remotely competent, what they could have done, or the angle they could have used, is she was far more, and I don't know if this is true, and I don't really care, honestly, but they could have said, oh, well, she was far more interested in Indian culture and she didn't really embrace black culture until her presidency, and now she's doing this in order to get y'all's votes. That's what a competent person would have said. But to Trump, and how fucking patently stupid he is, he doesn't understand how biracial even works. So to him, he hears this talking point and then goes in and says, well, I mean, last I heard she was Indian. I didn't even know she was black. How can you be both? That's the problem. And as far as, because I mean, the thing about it is also you have to remember that J.D. Vance's wife is Indian, or at least Asian. I'm not sure exactly where she's from, but they have kids from what I understand. So if I'm J.D. Vance, this is giving him a lot of bail and assuming that he's even remotely intelligent. He's sitting at home being like, well, goddamn, what the fuck does he think about my kids then?
Right.
Are they white? Are they Indian? What are they? You know? But as far as policy and not being able to, why didn't he go the policy route? It's the same thing I told y'all last week. He kind of can't, because her policies aren't that liberal. Her policies aren't that like radical. I know they used to try to say she's part of the radical left, but then she comes out and says shit about how she's going to be tougher on the border than Trump. Not in those exact words, but, you know, she talks about her border control policies, and, you know, what policy can they really attack her on if you really think about it? What can
That's why they're coming after all this stuff.
I would tie her to anything that Joe Biden has done bad. I feel like they would tie her to it, or could tie her to it.
So you have to give me an example, though, because like I feel like she could wiggle her way out of any of that shit. I bet. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. Yeah, I understand your point. I don't really think that policy is the way to go, but I thought that that's what they wanted to do. And thinking that they wanted to do that, it seems like they could have stayed far away from this. But no, I agree with your statement and what you're saying. They really don't have an attack point on the policy. If you're going to create one, I'd go with anything that I didn't like that Biden did.
Got you. Yeah, I think that attacking her pandering to black people would have been a good tactic if it was someone that was actually smart enough to do it. Like if she was battling, I mean, I can't even think of anybody, because I wouldn't want this to even be coming out of a white person's lips. But if there was like a more liberal black candidate and they were like debating, and the other liberal black candidate used this as an attack point, I'd be like, that makes sense. That makes sense. I may not agree with it, but it makes sense. Because I mean, we've made the jokes a lot about her quote unquote blackness. I think that joke could be turned into a valid topic. I just don't think the writer's smart enough to do it because they don't understand race anyway, or
They don't
ethnicity,
understand black people, yeah.
or black people in general. So they really
They
can't
don't
do it.
understand black. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely that Fox News host because you could tell she edited herself in real time to go to the other thing. It was funny seeing that clip because it's almost like when she said Jamaican. Her dad's Jamaican. It's like she realized in real time, like, well, I guess that is black. So let me walk away from that.
You know what? Also, I think it is. You just brought up a good point, Ken. I think that a lot of people, especially in the United States, associate black with African American.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I'm gonna say us because I've definitely done it. I don't think that a lot of black people think about Jamaicans, Caribbeans, Brazilians being black. They think of them as being Brazilian. You're a Brazilian. You're not a black American. You're a Brazilian American. So I think that is also part of the conversation that, Trump and his people clearly don't understand. And I kind of wish that girl in the blue, whose name I'm forgetting again. What was it again, B?
Rachel Scott.
Rachel Scott. I'm kind of wishing that she would have pushed back on that notion. But again, to Rod's point, it would have gone nowhere. They would have just argued and it would have just sucked up time.
Well, it's crazy. We're gonna jump to Kamala next, but that he said all that shit, was rude, aggressive, whatever, and then went around and said, "Shit, but I'm better for you guys. Like I've done more for you guys
the best
than anybody
president since
else."
Abraham Lincoln. I'm the best president since Abraham Lincoln.
It's just like so. Yeah, I mean, shit. You have a roof over your head. You fed every day. Why should you have any issue going out here picking cotton?
You get the scraps from the animals.
Right. What do you mean? Right.
The man said he saved HBCUs. Without him, there wouldn't be no HBCUs anymore.
Bro,
Right.
Crazy.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah.